I'm basically a very happy person, and I'm a good manifester of what I want. I have a terrific husband, I have great children, a job to die for. We live exactly where I'd want to live, on a little bit of a house down a dirt road in the country. And because of you, I understand how I've manifested all of these things. I'm also a manifester of one thing that I don't like and don't want, and that's financial deprivation. And I also understand, by listening to you, how I've done that.
Next.
Yeah, exactly. No. I'll be a little bit more. Exactly. Just what I thought myself in the middle of the night last night. Last summer when I met you and started listening to you, I thought, this'll be a piece of cake. I already believed that I created my own reality, and I saw now what the rules were. I hadn't known the rules before, so I didn't know what I was doing. So I figured this is going to be really easy to manifest financial prosperity. And as a matter of fact, I'm really enjoying the process. But I'm getting a little bit impatient. I'm very, very good at being happy with not enough money. And I'd really love to spend some time, in fact, the rest of my life, being happy with financial abundance.
We have to take issue with something that you're saying here, because if you really were happy with not enough money, there would be a lot more money. It's not being happy with where you are that is causing you to offer resistance that doesn't let more in. Because in your not having enough money, you are sending the signal to the universe that you want more money. So step 1 is in place. The universe always answers, so step 2 is in place. So the only thing is out of whack is you're not letting it in. And the way you know you're not letting it in is in your moments of unhappiness. Something that we notice with so many of you. You'll have many aspects of your life that do please you. And we know that you often speak about them, and we know that every bit of that is true. But we also know that you are giving an inordinate amount of attention to something that is holding the well-being called financial abundance away from you. And it most likely is your awareness on the very subject. In other words, it's possible to be worried about a handful of things that don't have anything to do with money and still hold money away. Just like you don't have to be worried about your physical health in order to diminish your health. You don't have to be specifically focused upon the lack of a specific subject in order to specifically disallow that subject. But when it is a subject like money, which shows up in your experience in many different ways in every single day, the way you feel about a subject like that often becomes such a normal feeling that you don't even realize that you're doing it. And it's a hard subject to get your attention away from because it is something that comes up so often during the day. What we would do if we were standing in your physical shoes and we were wanting to change, and you do, you got to change your vibration if something in your life is going to change. So let's start there. I want to change the way I feel about finances. It's that simple. I want to change the way I feel. But something that I think about really, really often, I think about from a place that does not match what I really, really want. So we say, you have to change your vibration about money. So how does one go about changing their vibration about money? Well, you have to stop looking at what is. Well, how can I not look at what is when what is? How can I not notice that I have to pay the bills, or that there are things that I and my children and that I would like for my grandchildren? How can I not notice that I want more money than I have? And we say, by noticing other things that are working, by noticing the things that are working so much that the things that aren't working don't get much airtime. Or you could take the bull by the horns and you could hit it head on, and you could start making a game about money that distracts you from the lack of money and makes you start approaching money differently. In other words, a game about money. We notice as we watch many of you who are in a situation where you feel that there is not enough money, you have this underlying trauma sort of going on all of the time. It's that feeling, I'm going to give you my credit card and I'm going to hope that it is not declined. Or it is the feeling of I'm getting close to my limit and I'm paying way more interest than I should. Or it's the feeling of, oh, I don't want to go to the mailbox because there may be more bills that are in the mailbox than my ability to pay it. And so a sort of stress just begins to layer over many of you. And we say, you're responding to the reality of what is and letting the reality of what is control your vibrational attitude about money. And if you want it to be different, you've got to say, I'm going to control my attitude about money. I'm going to control it. Well, what that means is I'm going to find a way of making money management more fun. I have to find a way of turning it into something that I'm looking forward to instead of something that I'm dreading. Sometimes people have developed this attitude of unworthiness or wrongdoing around the idea of debt. And we want to say to you that debt is not a bad thing. Your economy counts on debt. If your debt were to be removed, your economy would collapse. In other words, debt is not a bad thing. Debt is an indicator of someone's belief in your ability to pay. In other words, there are all kinds of good energies that flow around the idea of debt. Don't beat up on yourself relative to debt. And as you begin to relax, little by little by little, you will release the resistance that has been the only thing that has been keeping the steady stream, even avalanching of dollars into your experience. You cannot justify the dollars that flow through action. You can't do it. Not possible to do it. Look around at millionaires and billionaires who are earning incredible dollars against the time that they live, even. You cannot equate the dollars that you are receiving with any action that you are offering. We know that when you work somewhere and you get this much per hour, that it feels that way. But it is not that way. That's just one avenue through which dollars flow. The universe knows that you want dollars. The universe believes you should have dollars. The universe wants your well-being to flow to you in all ways and has endless things lined up to accommodate you. You've just got to find a way to loosen up your resistance so that it can begin to come in. The stories we hear from people about the places that dollars begin to flow, it is beyond description. Don't try to figure out where the dollars are coming from. Just get yourself in a vibrational place that you can receive them from wherever they come. The thing that we're wanting you to begin to feel is your game.
Yes.
It's the game. This is the game. Universe, I'm playing this game and I'm good at games and I'm joyful at games and I know you want to play with me. And as you start optimistically looking for the way that it's coming, all kinds of things begin to happen suddenly. And don't let this worry you because it will feel really good when it happens. The impulse to play the game becomes stronger than the impulse to buy one more thing to fill the void. And so the game becomes so empowered by the universal forces that assist you. And before you know it, you get this rhythm rolling. And before you know it, you will say, we've heard it from everyone who has played this game. Everyone who has played this game has received strong financial improvement. And more than half have become debt-free within months. The universe has hundreds of avenues lined up for you that most of you are vibrationally blind to because you're worried about money. So as you get freer about money, you're in a place where you rendezvous with more, you see more. the coupon that came, or the parking meter that already had money in it, or the money you found in a place you didn't know, or the bonus that someone gave you, or the reward that you earn, or the impulse even to buy a lottery ticket and the payoff from it. In other words, all kinds of impulses and inclinations begin coming. The telephone rings, you inherit something that you didn't know about. You get increased pay, there's something added to your paycheck that you were not expecting. But you have to start. In other words, it's in and out, 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 in and out. You have to feel the rhythm of it. And what happens with so many is you get out of balance, and then you worry about the out, the out, the out. And when you start feeling shortage to the point that you're feeling negative when you spend money, that's the beginning of the end. When you feel guilty or negative or belligerent or angry or frustrated or lackful as you are spending the money, amplifying the way you feel with the action, it's a spiral that just holds you and binds you. So you want to joyously spend your money. Don't spend it unless you can spend it joyfully, and spend it joyfully. The universe is not saying to you, that's the last dollar you're ever going to spend. The universe says, there's plenty more where that came from. There's plenty more where that came from. Just like oxygen, just like food. You don't say, I'm going to breathe all of the air the first hour this morning in case there might not be enough for tomorrow. You say in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. There's plenty of money. You've just got to amplify the feeling of plenty and diminish the feeling of shortage, you see. And we know many of you have been playing the records. Esther would say, especially when Jerry and Esther first came together, that as she was growing up, her mother worried about money every day of Esther's life and every day of her own life. In other words, her mother never stopped talking about not enough money, ever. She never stopped talking about there not being enough money. It was as common to her as breathing. They would go to the grocery store, she would write the check, and while she was writing the check, she would be shaking her head. This is costing way too much money. This is costing way too much money. This is costing way too much money. She would have a look on her face, and Esther would say, what's the matter? And her mother would say, I'm worried about money. I'm worried about money. And it may be because she was trying to get everyone else to be more responsible. But she never realized that as she worried about money, she disallowed money. You see. You cannot feel worry or anger or frustration while a subject is activated within you without, in the middle of that activation, be resisting the very thing that is the subject. You got to feel fun about money. You got to feel fun about money. You see, it doesn't matter. It's the way you feel. So there are people who have a lot of money who spend a lot of money. A lot in, a lot out. A lot in, a lot out. A lot in, a lot out. Well, there's a balance in that. There are some who don't have much, in and out, in and out, in and out. It's the way you feel. It's not the degree or the amount of money that's flowing. It's the way you feel about the money that's flowing. And so that's why you could be a bargain hunter and be in perfect balance with well-being, because the bargains are so satisfying to you, and as you find a bargain, it feels just right. You're in alignment. In other words, you could be a spendthrift and be in perfect alignment with well-being. There's no right or wrong in the amount you spend or in the action of the spending or not spending. It's the way you feel. There are those who don't spend because of their feeling of shortage and they shut it down. There are those that spend from their feeling of frustration and they shut it down. It's whatever you're doing, and to whatever degree you're spending, you must do it with joy. In other words, you must have no reservation. When you write that great big tip on the sheet at the restaurant, mean it. In other words, write it and mean it and give it in joy, or don't do it. It is the joy that you feel in the spending that is the indicator of the abundance, you see. And so, how do dollars feel to you? I love dollars. How do I feel about dollars? I love what dollars can do. How do I feel about dollars? Dollars are irrelevant. They are not very important to my life experience. My joy is what is most important. It does not matter. There's no right or wrong in it. But you can't, one thing is sure, you cannot feel bad about money and have money. Okay.